At the same time, the military in Myanmar says it wants peace and security, just as troops have reportedly shot dead another 4 protesters. A closer look now at diplomatic manoeuvres surrounding the crisis in Myanmar. We're joined by Professor Nehginpao Kipgen. He's from the O.P Jindal Global University. Professor, how will the UN Special Envoy's Asian tour help with the crisis?
See, what the UN can do now is try to bring different sides into the negotiation table. But again, that would be difficult to achieve at the moment as long as the killing continues on the ground. So in order for the UN envoy to be effective in her mission, the military in Myanmar needs to stop killing and pave the way for a dialogue, which is at the moment, which is really important.
Well, she's also seeking to meet with Myanmar's military generals. Do you see that happening?
The Myanmar military leaders can perhaps meet her. But again, the question is, it won't make much a difference whether she meets the leaders or not, because the military leaders are determined to prolong their actions or their regime as long as possible. So words are not sufficient at the moment, even at the level of the UN Special Envoy. So we need stronger for that to make any impact. For example, a coalition of democracies around the world and the UN Security Council taking a tougher action and trying to force the Myanmar military leaders into holding a dialogue or negotiation with the NLD leaders and the opposition party at the moment. At the same time, it is also important that UN Security Council take a different approach, especially China and Russia, whereby they come tougher on the military leaders and saying that this is bad for the country, bad for the future. It's just killing their own people is against, and it's a crime against humanity.
Professor, the military government reiterated yet again, though, that it will hold elections in 2 years' time. I mean, it says it respects suggestions from larger countries, from powerful people, but what does that mean?
See, there is no point in holding elections after elections. We already saw an election that was held largely free and fair in November 8, 2020. I know there is a theory or there is a version from the military that there was electoral fraud, whereby they want to hold another free and fair election. So if there is any free and fair election at any moment, absolutely it is the NLD which is going to come back much more stronger than it was in 2020. But the problem here is that it is not about holding free and fair election. It is about trying to entrench the military position in the future politics of the country, whereby sidelining or even barring Aung San Suu Kyi from entering politics ever again and trying to entrench the military role in future politics. So I see no point in holding another election when the military is not willing to give up power.
Well, elections aside, Myanmar is at this very moment at a standstill because of the protests and widespread strikes. How much longer can this go on?
See, it depends on a number of factors. The first factor is that how much the ethnic armed groups of the country, there are over 20 armed groups across the country. And we saw in the past few days that 10 of them, which signed a nationwide ceasefire agreement with the government, came out supporting the protest movement, saying that the military has to stop and has killing and must allow the return of democracy. So we do not see, for example, the largest armed group, United War State Army, which has strong, close ties with China. The moment, it depends on how much all these ethnic armed groups, some of them have their own internal differences, can come together for this in support of the protest movement. And of course, some would want to see these armed groups standing up against and fighting the military and trying to bring down or trying to stop what they are doing on a day-to-day basis. And the second possibility is what the UN does in the Security Council. Are they going to come tougher and including sanctions? Is it China and Russia going to change their position, which is unlikely to happen? But again, apart from that, what we call responsibility to protect, or a coalition of the willing, whereby some powerful countries, including United States, can take a lead in bringing together like-minded countries like the Quad countries, or even some countries within the region, ASEAN member countries, try to form a strong coalition force against the military junta. That would permanently change. Again, this the future of Myanmar depends on a number of factors, which I just stated.
The UN Security Council meets informally today. Professor, what can we expect from that?
Honestly, I don't expect much to come out of this Security Council meeting because we know for sure that China and Russia is going to be either vetoing or not allowing the statement. In other words, I don't expect much more than a statement released by the President of the Security Council. So we should look alternative routes now, apart from the Security Council meeting. Like I just stated earlier, about coalition of the willing, democracies of the world coming together and helping the protesters, or helping the civil society, or try to bring together both sides for some kind of understanding and dialogue, which, of course, is going to be very difficult at the moment.
Professor Kipgen, thank you. Professor Nehginpao Kipgen from O.P Jindal Global University.